welcome back to another episode of Midland Made. Today we are here with a very special guest. We are honored to have you. This is our university president, Jody Horner, who has for the past 10 years been leading and shaping Midland as a campus. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you, Lily. I appreciate it. Time flies when you're having fun. I will say that.
Yes.
10 years went by very quickly.
We're really excited to have you on the podcast here today to kind of talk about some of your experiences and what you've done to make Midland such a special place these last 10 years as you head off into retirement here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump right in. President Horner, how did you become the president at Midland? Like just some backstory of how you got here and started this legacy.
Oh, my. Well, so yes, let's roll the clock back. It would have been 2015, and I tell this story often. I remember my husband and I have 2 children, and our youngest went off to college, and so my husband and I became empty nesters. And I remember praying at that time and thinking, gosh, we could do anything. We were living in Wichita, Kansas at that time, and I had worked my whole career for a company called Cargill, and had run several businesses from them, so I didn't really come from academe. And it was just an inflection point in our time together as a couple, and we thought, wow, we're empty nesters. What do we want to do next? About that time, I got a call from a search firm, and they called and they said, we're looking for a college president, which I will tell you was nowhere on my radar screen. Nowhere. I was like running businesses. And I remember the recruiter going through a list, and he said, we're looking for somebody who is a business person, who has a passion for education, and I had been serving at the board at my alma mater, who's Lutheran, and he went down this long list, and I looked at my husband, Blair, and I said, that is me.
Wow.
I mean, that is literally me. And so my discussions began, and lo and behold, several months later, I showed up at Midland. That was February of 2015.
Wow.
And I've never looked back. It's been such a wonderful ride and really a second career for me. I'm a big fan of second careers. So do a lot of things in life, right?
I love that.
That's really cool. Is how sometimes you just kind of end up where you're supposed to be. And
well said.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really cool perspective.
I think I was meant to be here at this particular point in time, and now it's, as you said, time to hand the reins over to someone else.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit more about your education, like where you went to college and stuff too, and how that maybe played a role in some of this, like getting here to be a college president?
Yeah, sure. Well, I grew up as a Lutheran and went to a Lutheran college, so kind of similar to Midland in that regard. I grew up in Minnesota. Every once in a while, I can hear Minnesota. Yeah.
I heard it there a little bit.
Did you?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's there still. And went to St. Olaf College, which is in Northfield, Minnesota. So about 45 minutes from Minneapolis, St. Paul, kind of like we're 45 minutes from Omaha, roughly.
Yep.
And small college, liberal arts. My major was in economics, which I think is but I have to say, I started out as a music major.
Huh.
Oh.
So see, in liberal arts colleges,
Yeah.
people switch majors all the time.
All the time.
So started out as a music major, ended up as an economics major, and started to work for Cargill right out of college. And then I went back and got my MBA and continued that while I was working. So.
Cool. Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
So coming into Midland, small liberal arts, private college, felt very natural for me.
Yeah.
That's so
cool.
great.
And I appreciate all that a small residential college like Midland has to offer students. And I don't have to tell you guys that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get it.
Yeah, we do.
So did Cargill, I know you mentioned that you were in Wichita, Kansas before you came here. So did Cargill get y'all to Wichita, or how did you end up over there?
That's a great question. Let's see. I moved many times. Back when I graduated from college and you started with the company, and I don't know how you guys would have to tell me how this would fly. They assigned you to a place, and you never knew where you were going to go. And you just had to be willing to move.
Interesting.
Wow.
Like if you wanted promotions, you had to be willing to move.
Yeah.
So my first job with Cargill was in New York, not New York City, but upstate New York in Albany. And I was there. And then they moved me to Kansas. And then they moved me to Minneapolis. And then they moved me to California.
Oh, my goodness.
And then they moved me to Utah. And then they moved me back to Minneapolis, and then they moved me back to Kansas.
Wow.
So in total, I think I made 8 moves when I
Yeah.
was with Cargill. So it's probably moving every 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I was married, had 2 kids.
I'm sure that was.
How does that sit with
Yeah.
you guys? You ready?
No,
Sign me
yeah,
up.
Yeah, no, I think that would be like I personally I would like to move and travel and stuff, but yeah, I think that would be tough, like for your family and stuff. I would
Yeah.
think, especially
And it
like for your
was.
kids. I'm sure that was tough. I'm sure
It was. I'm not sure my kids have ever forgiven me.
Yeah.
We did get to see and live literally from coast to coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
I said, our last stop with Cargill was in Wichita, Kansas, and but somehow, and it's funny because I'm from Minnesota, my husband's from Florida, and we kept kind of gravitating towards the Midwest. So Nebraska, Minnesota, Kansas,
Yeah.
that kind of area.
Cool.
Just feels like home to both of us.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So-
Yeah. That's
That's
cool.
so great. I love that you like got to go literally everywhere and like yes, your kids may not have wanted to start a new school every couple years,
That's
but
right.
they got to get an experience that they're gonna remember, like going from literally like exactly what you said from coast to coast. So that's so great.
And they would tell you that. Too,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, that was so amazing to just hear about your life story, and I don't think many people really know that about you. So great that you got to share that with us. But I really just want to know, what is your perspective as the president over the last 10 years, how you really perceive Midland, like as a campus, and if you could sum it up in 3 words, which I know is so hard.
Killing me, Lily. Killing me.
If you could sum it up in 3 words, how would you describe Midland?
Boy, 10 years. In 3 words. Okay. I did think about this. I'm going to use 2 that people probably know. Maybe not so much students, but employees of the university know this. And I'm going to explain it to you. But my words are relentlessly relevant, and then I'm going to add special. Relentlessly relevant and special. So let me hit the first 2. Let's see, when I came to Midland back in 2015, the campus had been through a lot of change. I think they had, don't quote me on this, but I think they had, 4 or 5 presidents within a span of 15 years. So it, just a lot of change and turnover. The college had had some struggles. And a lot of people had been let go. They were all the right decisions, I believe, but very painful decisions. Yeah. And so when I showed up, people were tired, to be quite frank. They were weary, like, okay, can we please just settle in? Not that things don't change, but we're tired of all this constant. Let's have a direction and move.
For sure.
And so we've really together, and I can't take credit for any of this without the entire Midland community working together, but we really tried to set a vision. And that was to be relentlessly relevant. And what that means to me, and we've always talked about it in a way that says, we believe that it's incumbent upon us, meaning the college or the university, to understand the marketplace. We have to make sure that when our students graduate, they have skills that will help them get a job. I want our students to pay back their student debt, not have to go home and live in mom and dad's basement. You're adults. We want you going out into the world with purpose. And therefore, we have to give you the skills and provide the opportunities that help you do that. And so that's the relevancy part. So we do a lot of work behind the scenes. Students don't always see this, but we go talk to employers. What are you looking for? What skills do our students, regardless of your major, what skills are you looking for when you're hiring? And then we make sure we kind of work backwards, that gets woven into the curriculum and those kinds of things. So that's important. But then the relentless part is just about never being satisfied. And we are a campus of many student athletes. You both know that. And just almost kind of the competitive part in me, you know, how are we improving? What are we doing tomorrow to get better? Things aren't perfect at Midland. I know that. You know that. Everybody knows that. But we have to be working to improve things and get better every day. And that's the relentless part. You know, otherwise, if you're a small college like Midland and you're not focused on the future, that's not good. It's not healthy. We're a 141-year-old college. We could be doing this, right? Patting ourselves on the back. Aren't we great? We've been around for 140 years. The moment you do that, you're kind of going to die. And so we had to be future focused. I was going to save this, but I'll share it because it fits. My favorite quote comes from an American philosopher named Eric Hoffer. And Hoffer says, "In times of change, the learners shall inherit the earth, while the knowers, previously successful, will find themselves perfectly equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists." So to me, the question is, are you a learner? Are you focused forward and relentless in your pursuits? Or are you a knower? Which means you're resistant to change. And
Interesting.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So my 3 words, relentlessly relevant, and then the special piece, I have to comment on that. I wish I had a better word. It's kind of a wimpy word. But there is just something about this place that draws you in and wraps around your heart and doesn't let go. And I don't know what it is. It's the secret sauce of Midland, but I see it in our alumni, I see it in our students, I see it in our faculty and staff and our coaches and our directors, and it's just magical in a weird kind of way. So special, magical, something like that, and that won't ever leave. I mean, I'm retiring, but that'll stay with me for life. So you guys define that.
Yeah.
That's your job.
Yeah. I think that's really cool how you kind of mentioned the competitive aspect, and we are such a large population of student athletes here. I mean, we both are, and obviously most of our friends are, and so we understand that competitive aspect, and you kind of have to have that to really like go to school here, like especially if you're going here for athletics and things like that. Like you have to be ready to kind of come in and compete. So that's kind of interesting when you kind of think like small school, and you know you've got all these other options out there, and then there's Midland. And so how do you kind of separate yourself, and you do that through that competitive edge? That's kind of interesting how you put that into perspective there. Yeah.
That's a big challenge in higher education today. You folks may or may not know this, but the number of 18-year-olds graduating from high school is shrinking. So demographics, just the pure number of births in the U.S., are shrinking. And so there's a smaller pool of potential students to choose from. And it's exactly what you said, Brody. How do we stay relevant so that people want to choose Midland? Because you all had choices, and students who will come after you will have choices. And what is it about this campus that makes us unique and special or stands out so that people will choose us in the future? It's a great point you made.
And I appreciate that. I'm a digital marketing major, so that's
the
MO right there.
Relevant.
Yep, that's the MO.
On.
Yep. So yeah, I appreciate that.
And we do that across all of our majors.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a history major, okay, well, how does what you're learning in history apply to the world today, and how can you utilize that? So, we try to do it across all areas of campus.
I just want to touch on how you added special to describe Midland, because I'm going to start crying. I have been talking to my brother, and he's graduating soon. And, oh my gosh. It's okay. And I just want him to have the experience that I've had at Midland, and it's been magical. And there's no other word to describe it than special. And so it's like when I talk to prospective students on tours, like, I wish that I could just, like, give them the feeling that I have, because there's no words to describe it. And Midland is just such a special place for all the students on campus, and you've just made it that. And you just saying that it's relentlessly relevant to the students, to the faculty, like, that's what makes it so special. And so it's like, I just feel so incredibly blessed to, one, be talking with you right now, but also to be a part of the future of Midland, and to be able to have had you as a president only for 2 years, but you were so great. And just to hear your story and to see that perspective, it's the perspective that all students have on campus, truly.
Well, thank you very much for your kind words. I'm going to argue back. It is the students that make this place special. We all have jobs and a role to play, but you know, you are the reason we all get up in the morning and come to work with the, you know, mindset of being relentlessly relevant. Does that mean every day is woohoo, you know, perfect? No, I have bad days. Emma, you ever have a bad day? Yeah. It happens, but what do? You get up the next morning.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you guys. You guys do that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And you hit it again, and you try to improve, and you try to do better, and it's that warrior spirit, whatever you want to call it, that, you know, is kind of infectious.
No, I think I definitely do personally. It's kind of interesting. You talk about you've got your relevance and special. For me, like as a student, freshman coming in last year, coming in, I came in for baseball. I was like, you know what, I'm a college baseball player. That's it. Yeah. And you know, I came in and doors started opening up, and now I'm a podcast host. And like it's crazy. Like how
you are the perfect example.
Yeah.
I was a music major, right?
Yeah.
Ended up.
It's interesting because obviously, like a podcast like this, podcasts are the new rave, right? And so these are the new things, and so this is how you're staying relevant, and you also get to be a part of something that's pretty special. And I get to talk to the president of Midland for the last 10 years. Like it's things like that where it's just those 3 words, you just combine them together, and it really, like, opportunities like this. And I'm obviously just one perspective. I'm just one student. There's, 2,000 others right now that are the same way, and they feel they're in their own avenues, and they're doing their own different special things, but it's all applicable to whatever they're doing. It's really cool, just kind of how you think about all those 3 words and you put them together, and it's perfect. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
We often say, students a lot of the time, the majority of the time, come in the front door of Midland as student athletes. I'm a base. I always tell people, if you walk across campus and you ask a student how they chose Midland, they're going to say, I play volleyball, I'm in the powerlifting team, I play lacrosse, whatever. And that's great. That's how they come in the front door. Something, like we were saying, magical or special happens. And I think that's the power of a liberal arts education during that 4 years, because I'm going to say very few to none of our students are going to the NBA or the NFL. I mean, you're not going out the back door as a professional athlete, right? Our students are going out the back door as teachers, nurses, business people, social workers. All those community citizens are going out the back door, having gained that knowledge and had the experiences that change your perspective from I'm a baseball player to, I'm a community leader, I'm a father, I'm a working professional, I'm going into the military, whatever their vocation is. And to me, that's powerful.
Yeah.
And we need to create those opportunities for our students to explore and figure out their vocation so they can find the right path for them.
For sure. That's one thing as a business student, being in the Dunclow School of Business for sure, is just the opportunities that have just been thrown at me. And really there's people that they get those opportunities and they don't do anything with them. But I think that I personally have taken advantage of those opportunities, and it's gotten me places where I did not imagine myself being as a college sophomore, when I was a high school senior. And so I think that's one thing that Midland has really done a great job. And I think that that's a testament to you, just how many opportunities we get as students here.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think so at such a small college. You're looking at it from an outsider's perspective. Well, this is a small school, small liberal art school. What's it going to do for me other than a degree? And that's not the question. It's what is that college going to do for me? Like what am I going to get, and what opportunities am I going to get? And I think that's something that's really special. And like I said, that's kind of a testament to you and all those opportunities that have been opened up for every student here at Midland.
Yeah. And kudos to you for taking advantage of those opportunities. Yeah. Sometimes that can be scary for students or difficult to do, and that's the right thing. That's what we want to have happen. Okay.
Yeah, and so just kind of building off that, I guess, what are some of your biggest accomplishments and some of the things that you're most proud of throughout your tenure here at Midland?
Yeah. Well, first, let me say again, I have the role of president here, but you can't accomplish anything by yourself. You have to do it with a team, and I'm blessed to have just an excellent team of professionals that I work with every day. Our faculty, our staff, coaches, directors, everybody pulling together for our students. But some of the things that I am most proud of our team accomplishing, couple that stand out. One was really building what we call the center, which is the Center for Professional and Graduate Studies. Now, as undergrads, you guys probably you know about it, but you don't hear about it as much every day. But back in 2017, we made a strategic decision to open up a new part of campus, if you will, and that's in Omaha. It's down at about 120th and Dodge Street, right at the base of what is now Charles Schwab, but was TD Ameritrade. And we call that our Omaha location, or the center, and that's where we do all our graduate programs. Now, many of them have moved online, but when I started, we had probably less than, I don't know, it might have been 50 graduate students, people who are pursuing their master's degree. Today we have over 500 students who are either pursuing a master's degree. We started our first doctoral program, which is our EDD. And we also do what we call professional studies, which would be certifications and things like that. And that has really been a growth engine for Midland, one that many people have contributed to and built. But I think we're especially proud of that, because I was talking about the demographics earlier. As the number of 18-year-olds shrink, it's going to be hard and get harder every year, because this is projected to go on for the next decade, to find undergrads. And so what are you going to do? You have to have a hedge against that. And for us, it has been the Center for Graduate and Professional Studies. There's nothing in our mission today that says we can only educate 18 to 22-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
And actually the fastest growing population of learners in the United States today is adult learners. Which is kind of interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so how do we be, back to relevance, right? How do we be relevant to them? Well, we offer them programs. And so we've been doing that, as I said, since 2017. There's been great growth there, and that's a proud accomplishment. One of the other ones that's kind of fun is just being an Apple Distinguished School. Back in 2018, we first introduced iPads to campus. The faculty got them first, and we let them play with them for about 6 months and learn how to use them. We gave them training, and then in 2019, we rolled it out to all students. And I still remember Emma was a student. You were there when we deployed the first round of iPads, because I remember you introduced yourself to me.
We took our photo on the orange couch.
And we took our photo on the orange couch, which I still have. And that's when we said we're going to introduce this piece of technology really to do a couple of things. One, to level the playing field. I would hear stories of students writing a paper on their phone, or some students couldn't afford a computer and they'd have to go to the computer lab. Now everybody has the same equipment to succeed when they start their Midland journey, and we feel really good about that. Hopefully you're incorporating that into the classroom in various ways. We let faculty determine that. But in a digital world, Brody, you know this with your major, how students incorporate technology into their everyday work. And, of course, now with AI, that's only, multiplying.
Yeah.
So then in 2019, right before the pandemic hit, every student had an iPad. And so for us during the pandemic, when we had to transition to online learning,
made it everything
kind of no big deal.
Yeah.
Faculty knew how to do it. Students knew how to do it. Other schools were like scrambling to get everybody devices. We already had that. I think we got lucky. It certainly helped. And then since then, we've earned Apple Distinguished status, which only... Oh, gosh, I forget the numbers, but I'm going to say, I don't know what it is, less than 200 schools in the country have Apple Distinguished status, something
really
like
cool.
that. And so we're really proud of that.
Yeah.
As you should be. That's cool. Yeah.
Well, and like I said, it levels the playing field
Yeah.
for students and has been an important piece of being relentlessly relevant.
Oh, I know for sure that's definitely a tool that I use all the time.
Yeah.
So, it's helped me out a ton.
Good.
For sure. So,
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I assume
No,
for you, same thing.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, I feel like I'm not really a tech savvy person, but this iPad, this tool that I've been given, like, it has helped me a ton with just like organization and learning more how to use like this digital tool, because like, again, I was always pen and paper like throughout my whole high school, and then COVID hit, and it was like we had to go through like a drive-through to get laptops from the school, and it was like that was our one way to like communicate, to learn, to stay in school. And then people would get sick, and then it's like, okay, well, they don't have this device. And so like the fact that you guys were like kind of on top of it without even knowing it, like you guys were prepared. And so that's just another testament to being, again, relentless and relevant too. And so it's just like just another piece that goes into the puzzle of the resource for our students on campus. And when I take people on tours, like I'm just like, you guys, I know you just learned about a lot of stuff in the little slideshow, but you're going to see it all the more, and I'm going to show you all these resources that we have.
You're
and
going to live it out.
Amen.
Come here.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just like that is just another testament to us being relevant and relentless. And I mean, a lot of employers are probably going to need people to be digitally sound, and so they're going to need people to be like able to use an iPad. And so that's just another drive aspect that we have on campus.
It is. Good job. I was going to get it in there somewhere. Digital fluency is a big part of drive. It's the D in drive. So yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I always tell students like who are coming on a tour, or like freshmen who are like, well, I'm just going to use my phone, or I have a laptop. I'm like, no, use your iPad.
Use your
like,
iPad.
It's going to be beneficial. Like the things that we have that are just free to us to use are just incredible. And then the faculty and the service desk in the library too, like they're Apple Distinguished and they have IT help. And so it's like, even if you don't know and you don't have a friend who knows, you can always go to someone on campus who is digitally sound. So like I've learned a lot from my peers, my professors, and so I'm just always learning, again, just being a learner. And I think that's what all of our students on campus
That's
are.
what we want. That's what we want. That's
Yeah.
what's producing, giving you, again, the skills to be able to go out there and, be contributing members of society and good employees and, all those kinds of things. So the last thing I'm proud of, I just have to mention it, is, I just take, sometimes I feel like the mom of campus. It's not my job, but I feel that way sometimes. And I just take such pride in our students' accomplishment. I'm going to pick on Lily for a minute because the powerlifting team just won, swept
Yes.
national collegiate nationals,
Yes,
and
we did.
congratulations. So every
Thank
time
you.
our students have a win, whether it's on the stage or on the field or whatever, or in the classroom,
Yeah.
I'm just filled with pride, and it is just so fun to be a little cheerleader on the side, cheering our students on.
Yeah.
So I'm just proud of all that our students do. In the community and in their sport and on the stage and in the classroom. We just had FBLA place in the state competition
We
for
had
future business leaders.
We had a lot of
Oh my
finishes in
gosh!
that.
And now they're
Yeah.
going on to nationals, and
Dallas,
those kind
Texas.
of things just warm my
time.
heart. Our students
gonna
are
be a good
so
time.
awesome. So I'm always proud of you
Yeah.
guys.
We had, gosh, how many? It was like, I want to say like 12 of the 14 people that we sent to
Yes.
state made it to
Wow.
nationals. And then I think like everybody ended up going just because you have people that drop out. And so,
Racing.
yeah.
Wow.
And so everybody placed for sure in top 10. And so that was really cool.
Amazing.
Our chapter
That's
always
awesome.
does. Our chapter always does amazing. Rita Bristol, she's our advisor for FBLA. She does a great
She
job.
won advisor.
She did.
Year
Yep,
again.
Yep, she did. Yep.
So pretty amazing
Our
stuff.
our chapter is one of the best.
We're small campus but mighty. And
Man,
Yes,
that's the
yes.
office, the Midland FBLA officer in me. But I gotta brag a little bit.
good for you.
Our chapter is pretty good.
And
It's a good chapter.
and you should. And
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
those are the skills,
Yep.
and experiences that, are just part of the Midland experience. So when our students do well, I take a lot of pride in that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be plenty more things to be proud of, and there's so many sports and activities and students to be proud of, and I just love that, and I'm so blessed to be one of your students that you are proud of as well. Looking to the future and into retirement, I just want you to start thinking about, like, what are you going to miss the most about being on campus in Midland?
Well, I'm staying in Fremont, so my husband and I, Fremont is home for us right now.
Yeah.
Our
go.
daughter and her husband and our 2 grandchildren live here in Fremont, so
go.
we're staying close. So we'll always, I hope to be on campus. I'm not going to get in Dr. Williams' way, but once a warrior, always a warrior.
Right.
So I still look forward to coming to games and cheering on our athletes and stuff like that, but I'll be doing it with a little bit different hat. But when you ask what will I miss the most, I can say without any hesitancy, it'll be the people. I mean, it will be the students. It will be the employees. And back to our comment about the specialness of this place, just walking around campus on today's a beautiful spring day,
Oh my
right? It's
gosh,
supposed to be
yes.
70 or something. And just walking across and seeing people that I know and saying hi and that kind of stuff, I will miss that. I
Yeah.
will. And it's just been such a privilege, such a blessing to be able to work with such talented people, professors who excel in their subject area and have embraced our relentlessly relevant vision, staff members who've done that. It's felt like a family to me, and I'll miss that part.
Yeah.
But it won't be too far away.
No.
If you see me around campus, you
I
can
was
still
gonna
wave.
say-
I might be
Still say
walking
hi.
the dogs, but
I was going to say, your walks on campus will not change. You'll still see people,
There you
and
go.
they'll always say hi. I know
There you go.
we definitely will,
Yeah.
so.
how you doing? You just call me Jody. How about that? How you doing, Jody? That works.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, and then kind of with that perspective, what are you most excited for with the future? Obviously, it's going to be sad, but it's going to be really great too to kind of pass the reins on to somebody else. And so, yeah, I just want to know what you're most excited for.
Yeah, I am excited. 10 years just sounded like a good number. I don't know why I always had 10 years when I came. I was like, well, I think 10 years would be great. And that ends for me a 40-year professional career because I had 30 years before that. And it just feels like the right time. It's natural for me. I said God sometimes tells us, what is coming next, and I'm ready for the next chapter. I get to be a full-time grandmother, which I'm really excited about. As I mentioned, we have 2 grandkids. You've probably seen them running around campus at different events. Charlotte is 5, Logan is 3. So I look forward to spending more time with my family. And I do serve on a number of boards, they're for-profit boards, but kind of back to my old business career, and I look forward to continuing to serve on those. So I still have my fingers in little things, but a lot more free time and flexibility with my schedule. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited about that, and I think it's going to be a great next chapter. So,
what would be a message that you would give to the next president of Midland? Reflecting on the 10 years before that, all of this whole podcast, just what would be your message to them?
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited for Dr. Williams. She will do a phenomenal job. I don't know her well, but I trust the board, and I have met Allie and think she'll be great in the role. My advice to her, and I maybe have shared this, not sure, while she was interviewing, but soak it all in. Take advantage of all the wonderful opportunities, similar to what you guys said for prospective students, right? Soak it all in. Be visible on campus. Be involved. Celebrate our students' accomplishments, which I know she will. At the same time, the role demands that you keep a little bit of distance. Can't be the mom or, everybody's best friend because sometimes you have difficult decisions to make. And I think for the future of Midland, it's going to be important, especially with the headwinds or the shrinking demographics that we talked about. It's not going to be smooth sailing. And so I think just stay focused on the sustainability of the institution, but at the same time, oh my gosh, enjoy it. A decade goes by really quickly, and I know she'll do that.
Yeah, and then just kind of building off that once again, obviously, what would be a message that you would say to students as they move forward and future students at Midland?
Oh, it's kind of one and the same. And you both have said it here today. Take advantage of all that Midland has to offer. I know everybody's personality is different. Their life goals are different. But as we've talked throughout the podcast today, Midland has just a plethora of things to take advantage of, and you'll never know unless you go try, right? And that's hard when you're an 18-year-old coming in and you're moving from a different state and you don't know anybody. You got to take the plunge or find somebody who can help you take the plunge. Try a new activity on campus. Talk to your professors. They all care so deeply about your success, but if you're afraid to go have a conversation, you'll miss out. And take advantage of those resources and, really get to know yourself. Find your vocation. Find your purpose. That's why you're here. And if you do that, things have a really special way of working out, don't they?
They do.
Yeah,
right? I get the privilege
Definitely
of shaking the hands, or I haven't, and Allie will going forward, but shaking the hands of our graduates. And when I'm up there, shaking their hand, we're handing them their diploma, you just know that, our students have been through a lot. It's not easy. Not everybody gets a chance to play sports in college or complete their degree, and yet their futures are so bright. So that would be my advice. Take advantage of all those resources. And
Absolutely.
At the same time, when you're done, think of your alma mater, pay it forward. And I mean that seriously. I think I heard in one of the powerlifting videos, this program was built on the backs of others. And I would say the same for Midland, graduates, investing, offering internship opportunities, giving back financially when you're able, that pays it forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've all been
Absolutely.
the beneficiaries of
Oh
that.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Yes.
I just was at the scholarship lunch
Yes.
today, and people are investing in the future of of our students' future, and they are paying it forward because they were a student here once, or they
Yeah.
benefited from a scholarship. That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm sure it is, and I'm sure that there's a lot of those meetings and conversations and things like that you get to see, and you get to realize how special and just how much, or how many people I should say, just really care and really want to give back to Midland. I'm sure that
Yeah.
those are pretty fun conversations and pretty cool. So.
They are.
Well, that is just so great. But before we wrap up, is there anything else that you just want to share, give advice to the Midland community?
I really just want to say a very heartfelt thank you. Thank you. It has been the privilege of a lifetime to serve here at this special place, and I will leave here with a heart full of love and gratitude for all of the people that I've had the chance to work with, students, faculty, staff alike. So thank you. I'm forever grateful.
Well, we would like to say thank you for the lasting impact that you have left on this university. I know that we've personally felt it. And so, yeah, we just want to say thank you for all the wonderful things that you've done for this university and how you've really laid the groundwork for the next person, and just all the work that you've done. We're so very appreciative of that and all the hard work that you have given to this university.
Well, it has been so fantastic to meet with you and to hear about all the things that you've done on campus and your perspective for Midland. We are about out of time, so that is going to be a wrap. But again, it's just such a blessing, such an honor to have you on the podcast, to learn more about you, and for our students to hear what you really think about Midland. So, I'm Lily.
I'm Brody.
And I'm President Horner.
And this is Midland Made.